All right, good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the December 16th, 2019 meeting of the City Plan Commission. Before we begin, I'll outline the procedure that will follow for our public hearing. As each agenda item is called, the applicant or his or her representatives and persons for the request will be allowed to speak. Then persons against the request will be allowed to speak. If there is opposition to the request, the applicant will be allowed to make a short rebuttal. All persons wishing to speak need to come to the microphone at the front of the room here. Please state your name and address for the record. All statements made should be relevant to agenda items and be limited to 3 minutes. If there are several persons in favor of or opposed to a request, we encourage you to allow 1 or 2 persons to act as spokesperson for the group. If you like, a spokesperson for a group may request that the group stand and be recognized. While public discourse is very important to the Commission, we have to maintain order in the meeting so that all persons may be heard and city business may be conducted. If so directed by me, the Sergeant at Arms shall remove from this meeting any person while addressing the Commission or while attending the Commission meeting, making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks, who becomes boisterous, or making unauthorized remarks from the audience, stomping of feet, whistling, yelling, or similar demonstrations. The Commission members have reviewed each of these items in a previous work session, and the recommendations that we make tonight to the City Council will be based on the work session and the information provided by staff, as well as any additional information presented tonight. After completing the hearing on each item, the Commission will consider action on the item. The action taken tonight on these items will be in the form of a recommendation to the City Council. The City Council will also conduct a hearing on these items, which will be held on Tuesday, January 21st, 2020 at 6 p.m. here in the Bosque Theater of the Waco Convention Center, 100 Washington Avenue. The record and recommendation of the Plan Commission and new testimony will be considered by the Council at that time. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from our work session and business meeting from last month. Are there any changes or additions? All right, seeing none, they stand approved as written. All right, the first item that we're going to take up today, the first section of items are our plats, and I think we're going to take them one at a time. So if we could take, let me see, the final plat and construction plans of the Buster Chatham Addition Phase 2 ETJ first. Does city staff have a recommendation on this case?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission. This is a public hearing on the final plat and construction plans of the Buster Chatham Addition Phase 2 in the ETJ. Staff has reviewed this plat and does recommend approval with conditions.
All right. Is there anyone here, is the applicant his or her representative present to speak on this item at this time? Is there anyone here to speak on this item, whether in favor of or in opposition to? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Do we have a motion? The recommendation is to approve with conditions. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I move we approve with conditions the final plat and construction plans for the Buster Chatham Addition Phase 2.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please poll the commission.
Briscoe,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gomez,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Mayfield,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
Wade,
Yes.
Bordereau,
Yes. All right, motion carries, and it is approved with conditions. We move now to the preliminary plat of the Landreth Garden Addition, a planned unit development.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission. This is another preliminary plat of Landreth Garden Addition Planned Unit Development that staff does recommend approval with conditions.
All right, is the applicant or his or her representative present to speak on the application, on the plat? Is anyone here to speak, whether in favor of or opposed to this plat? All right, hearing none, we will close the public hearing, and the recommendation is approval with conditions. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, yes, I recommend that we approve the plat with conditions.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, let's poll the commission.
Briscoe,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gomez,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Mayfield, Ramos,
Yes.
Wade,
Yes.
Bordereau.
Yes. Motion carries, and it is approved with conditions. Let us now take up the final plat and construction plans of the Park Meadows South Edition Phase 1.
Yes, sir. This is the final plat and construction plans of Park Meadows South Edition Phase 1. Again, this plat is recommended for approval with conditions.
All right. Is the applicant or his or her representative present to speak in favor of the application? Speak in favor of or in opposition to this plat application? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the plat with conditions.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, please poll the commission.
Briscoe. Cole. Garcia.
Yes.
Gomez.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Mayfield.
Yes.
Ramos.
Yes.
Wade.
Yes.
Borderoud.
Yes. Motion carries. It is approved with conditions. Now we move to the final plat and construction plans of the Creekside Edition, Phase 6.
This is a public hearing on the final plat of construction plans for Creekside Edition Phase 6. Staff does recommend approval of this one. Follow-up from our work session about the drainage easement along the creek. We do think that can be met with the applicant when it goes to council, so we can keep our recommendation of just approval.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood what you were, you're saying that the creek is not on the property?
We verified that it's not on
Okay.
there, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move we recommend approval of this plat and the construction plans subject to conditions. Well, no, there are no conditions on this, is that correct?
Well, and let me make sure that no one's
I'm
here to
sorry.
speak. But yeah, thank you, Joe, I appreciate it. So is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak in favor of the application? Is anyone here to speak in favor of or in opposition to the application? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. And do we have a motion to approve?
Yes, I do. I'll try again. We recommend approval of this Creekside Edition plat and the construction plans.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, please poll the commission.
Briscoe.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Gomez.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Mayfield.
Yes.
Ramos.
Yes.
Wade.
Yes.
Borderoud.
Yes, motion carries, and it is approved. Moving to the last and final plat and construction plans of the Foundation Edition, Block 1, Lot 2. What is the recommendation in this case?
The recommendation on this one is for the final plat of the construction plans of Foundation Edition, Block 1, Lot 2 is for approval.
All right. Is the applicant or his or her representative present to speak on behalf of the plat? Is anyone here present to speak in favor of or in opposition to the plat? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I recommend approval of this recommendation.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, please poll the commission.
Briscoe.
Yes.
Cole. Garcia.
Yes.
Gomez.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Mayfield.
Yes.
Ramos.
Yes.
Wade.
Yes.
Borderoud.
Yes. Motion carries, and it is approved. Moving now to our zoning applications in case Z-19-85. What is city staff's recommendation in this case?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Tamantha Harris at property located at 4500 Kendall Lane for a special permit for a short-term rental type 2 in R1B zoning district. We mailed out 12 notices and had one returned in favor, and we also received a phone call in favor of the request. Planning Services recommends approval of the special permit subject to the special provisions and conditions and based on the following findings. 1, the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan. 2, the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it is located. 3, the proposed use would not be more objectionable to neighboring properties because of traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics of any use permitted in the zoning district without the grant of the special exception. And 4, that available community facilities and services, including the road system, providing access to the proposed use are adequate for the proposed use.
All right. Is the applicant or his or her representative present to speak on the application? Please come forward to the podium and state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Tamantha Harris, and I'm here tonight to ask for special permit approval for short-term rental.
Do we have any questions for the applicant? All right, thank you so much. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone else, or anyone here to speak in opposition to this application? All right, hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the special permit subject to the special provisions and conditions and findings of staff.
All right, we have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? All right, please poll the commission.
Briscoe,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gomez.
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Mayfield,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
Wade,
Yes.
Borderoux.
Yes, motion carries, and it is approved. Moving now to case Z-19-86. What is the staff's recommendation in this case?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Rodney and Carmen Roller at property located at 2700 Ethel Avenue for a special permit for short-term rental type 2 in R1B zoning district. We mailed out 24 notices on this one and had 0 return. Planning Services recommends approval of the special permit subject to the special provisions and conditions and based on the following findings. 1, the proposed use is consistent with a comprehensive plan. 2, the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it is located. 3, the proposed use will not be more objectionable to neighboring properties because of traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics than any use permitted in the zoning district without the grant of the special exception. And 4, that available community facilities and services, including the road system providing access to proposed use, are adequate for the proposed use.
All right, is the applicant or his or her representative present to speak on this application?
Hello, my name is Andrea Traylor, and I'm here on behalf of Rodney and Carmen Roller, and I am seeking a special permit for short-term rental type 2.
All right, could you also state your address for our record?
My personal address or the house?
Your address.
3636 Alta Vista Drive, Waco, Texas 76706.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? Anyone else like to speak in favor of this application? Anyone like to speak in opposition to this application? All right, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval we recommend approval of this application based on staff's findings and conditions.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, please poll the commission.
Briscoe,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gomez,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Mayfield,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
Wade,
Yes.
Borderoux.
Yes. All right, carries, and it is approved. Moving now to Z-19-88. What is city staff's recommendation in this case?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on request from Vernon Davis, managing member of East Riverside Holdings LLC in the city of Waco, on properties located at 201 Pleasant Street, 409, 411, 415 Taylor Street, 315 and 323 Taylor Street, 319 Bridge Street, and 216 and 217 Myrtle Street, to rezone from M2 and M3 to C4. We mailed out 10 notices on this one and had 0 return. Planning Services recommends approval of the request to change the zoning based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is conformance with the land use component of the comprehensive plan and the Imagine Waco plan for greater downtown. 2, the existing public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in C4 zoning. 3, the area has been transitioning from industrial uses to commercial mixed uses. And 4, the C4 zoning is the dominant zoning along the west side of Bridge Street.
Is the applicant or his or her representative present to speak on this request?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I'm Mac Harden. I'm 700 Columbus Avenue, Waco, Texas. I'm here representing Mr. Davis, who's out of town working. And I think the findings that Clint outlined, this property is zoned industrial, and it's in an area that's changing drastically. And the property around this is all zoned, the majority of it's zoned C4. And so he's requesting that this zoning be changed to be compatible with the land use of all the properties being developed in that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Is anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? Is anyone here to speak in opposition to this application? Okay. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
I move we approve the changing of zoning from M2 and M3 to C4 property we're discussing.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All right. Please poll the commission.
Sco,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gomez,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Mayfield,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
Wade, Borderoud,
Yes. Motion carries and it is approved. Moving now to our abandonment, we have case ABD-19-6. What is city staff's recommendation in this case?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Waco Creative Art Center, Inc. For the abandonment of a .163 acre of a 20-foot alley known as Burnett Avenue on South 8th Street and 9th Street and located between Ross Avenue and Clay Avenue. We mailed out 11 notices on this one and had 0 return. Planning Services recommends approval of abandonment request based on the following findings and condition. One, that the public use of the right-of-way is not required for proper flow of traffic or for emergency vehicle access to the area. 2, utility access for surrounding properties is not adversely impacted by the abandonment of the right-of-way. And 3, the abandonment provides for better development opportunities for the property surrounding the subject alley. We do have one condition that a 20-foot wastewater easement shall be retained for the existing sewer line located in the alleyway or be relocated out of the right-of-way at the developer's cost.
Is the applicant or his or her representative present to speak in favor of this application? Okay. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this application? Okay. Ma'am, are you here to speak in opposition? Oh, okay, all right. Do you want to speak or do you just want to? Okay, just if you could come forward and please state your name and your address.
I'm Elizabeth Saunders. The address is 701 South 9th Street. I believe we need to keep the alley there because of the traffic situation. I use it all the time. And if you abandon it, there's no way to cut cross through when you have traffic on Clay and Ross, which is quite a bit lately.
Any questions for? Okay.
My house faces right in front of that alley, and it helps when the traffic's really horrendous, which it is most of the time.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir. Are you here to speak in opposition?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Mason Dunham. My address is 4012 Parrott Avenue, Waco, Texas, 76707. I'm here on behalf, in a representative capacity, on behalf of Matthew Campise. That is Campise. He's the property owner of 620 South 9th Street, Waco, Texas. He received a notice as he is one of the, his property joins the requested abandonment. Mr. Campise is an U.S. active duty military stationed in Fort Bliss, El Paso. That's why he's not able to be here tonight. Mr. Campise objects to this abandonment of the road as it would limit access to his property as well as limit the use of his property, specifically the back half of his property, and diminish the market value of said property. If the Commission doesn't have any questions, I have a letter from Mr. Campise that I'd like to put into the record.
Okay. Do you want to share that with us or do you want to read it into the record?
Just share it.
Okay. Yeah, if you don't mind, you can just give it to Ms. Wade here on the end and pass it down.
Thank you.
Right. Do we have any questions for this gentleman?
Thank
you
you
so much. I'll give the commission a little time to review the letter that's passed down. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of or in opposition to this request that's here?
No, Mr. Chairman, but if I could add, if I need to read that for it to be part of the record, I will be happy to do so.
How long is it?
It's quite a, it's a whole page,
Sure, it's a
single
big page.
spaced.
It'd probably be quicker if you just read it to us.
Okay.
We could probably get it in that way. Thank you so much.
So it says reply to notice of public hearing ABD 19-6. I, Matthew Campes, a property owner at 620 South 9th Street, Waco, Texas 76706, since 2002, vehemently disagree with the proposal by Trujillo Group to classify the aforementioned property in the notice as abandoned. Burnett Avenue provides the only means of access to the largest portion of my property, the future site of my personal workshop and sole source of income, and any attempt to shut down the road would leave me without said access and significantly devalue my property. This street provides a thoroughfare that I and others utilize regularly, both on foot and via motor vehicle. The loss of Burnett Avenue cannot be made up for by access through any other means, as there is not one, and the personal loss of access and property value would require an undue burden for me in seeking litigious representation. Additionally, the Waco City Housing Authority Maintenance Division and residents of the Waco City Housing connected to this alley and Burnett Avenue regularly use Burnett Avenue and the alley to access both the housing units, parking lot, and maintenance facility. In light of the increase in interest in property value, this seems like an attempt to land grab and therefore the city's and therefore the public's property. Trujillo Group has given no consideration to the residents nor the negative impact the abandonment of Burnett Avenue would have on mine and my neighborhood's ability to commune with each other. I'm thankful that there is a city process and the Planning Commission to oversee and regulate these attempts. I'm currently away on military orders and cannot attend this public hearing. This letter is intended to serve as my position on the matter, and I will summarize again by saying I absolutely, unequivocally disagree of this request and ask the Planning Commission to disapprove Trujillo Group's request and take measures to ensure the free, unimpeded Burnett Avenue and alley. Respectfully, Matthew Campes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for?
Could you repeat the address that Mr. Campes lives at?
Yes, it's 620 South 9th Street.
Is that a paved alleyway? Is it paved or is it a dirt or it appears?
The alleyway that's getting abandoned, I believe, is paved.
Doesn't look like an alleyway.
Is the alleyway paved? Is it paved or is it gravel?
The alley on Burnett is paved.
Okay.
It's paved. It's been there forever. I grew up in that neighborhood. We need to keep all our alleys.
Okay. Any other questions?
I don't know if it, I guess this in general, where is 620 in relation? I have, on the plat here, we have a Lot 2, Block 1, Waco Creative Arts Center Edition. And we have a Lot 1, Block 1. Which one of those?
I have a Google Map image that I can show the commission.
It's towards Clay Avenue, so it doesn't actually touch the alley that's being
okay.
abandoned. It backs up to the alley that's perpendicular to the Burnett Alley.
Okay. So, but it does not act, it's a lot away from the alley.
Yeah, it's two lots away.
That is the only access to the back of his property through that other alley. And Mr. Campy's, whenever he returns from his military service in 5 to 7 years, he intends to operate a garage, which would be his only source of income.
So the person that you represent, behind their property is kind of, it's not this abandoned or
No, he's-
requested abandoned, it's another thing that he calls an alley.
Yes.
Or that's kind of used as an alley, but it's not this paved alley.
No, it's not the paved alley, but the only way to access what he calls an alley is through Burnett Avenue, which is the alley that is being abandoned on. And I passed up a Google image that shows in red X the two alleys.
One
He
is,
Mr. Kim, or I'm not sure what his rank is, so I'll refer to him as Mr. But,
He's a major.
so Major Campese was among the individuals identified by the city as an individual whose
Yes.
property would be affected. So,
Yes.
okay.
Because it's within the 200 feet.
I have a copy of the letter that he received.
is there an actual alley behind Mr. Campese's house? Do you know if that's, because it seems like it's representing one on the,
Yeah, so they're definitely, well, see, a lot of this area, these are undedicated right-of-ways. They were never officially dedicated. Same with this, but this Burnett Alley has been functioning as an open connection for so long. Staff felt like it needed to go through a public hearing process. The applicant is not here. I would recommend that the commission continue this.
Yeah.
To allow the applicant to get with the two parties here to see if they can work through the issues with the access to the properties.
because it looks like it would also cut off access to at least Mr. Campese's portion of whatever this other section of alleyway is.
Do we have any more questions for the neighbors or their representatives? Thank you both. We
Thank you all.
appreciate it. Go ahead and close the public hearing. I mean, Mr. Harris pulled up something on his phone and looking through this, I mean, it looks like a street to me. And in fact, some maps call it Burnett Street. So I mean, and staff is feeling that it should go through, because it functions as a street, it was important that it be kind of formally abandoned. Was that kind of the
That's
thinking?
correct, yes.
Okay.
It was never formally dedicated.
As an alley?
As an alley or a street. It's because it's the width of an alley, because it's 20 feet wide. But it comes up on maps as Burnett Alley or Burnett Avenue. Because if you go 2 blocks to the west, there is a portion of Burnett that would line up with this if it continued through.
Does it, I mean, it's a paved street, so is that maintained by the city of Waco as well?
It's been maintained by
Okay.
the city, yeah. And it has been there for a long time, yeah.
I would motion that we continue this until the January meeting.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to continue this matter to the January hearing to give the parties time to discuss and see if a resolution could be worked out or just come back and address us. All right, please poll the commission.
Briscoe. Yes. Cole.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Gomez.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Mayfield.
Yes.
Ramos.
Yes.
Wade. Vorderud.
Yes. Motion to continue carries, so this will be reset for the January meeting. All right. All right, the final matter is an amendment to the comprehensive plan. What is city staff's recommendation in that case?
To the commission, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the city of Waco, Texas, amending the city plan for physical development of the city of Waco by amending Appendix A to add C4 on Elm Avenue and Bridge Street only as a permitted zoning district under the mixed-use flex land use designation. And staff does recommend approval of this amendment to the comprehensive plan.
And since we just voted to approve that change now, that makes much more sense.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anyone here present to speak in favor of or in opposition to this proposed amendment to the comprehensive plan? All right, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept for staff's recommendations.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Please poll the commission.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Gomez.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Mayfield.
Yes.
Ramos.
Yes.
Wade.
Yes.
Borderoon.
Yes, motion carries, and the amendment is recommended to City Council. Do we have any further business to attend to?
That's it.
All right. If not, we will adjourn.